evening to everybody world over. We extend a very hearty welcome to all our brothers and sisters across the globe, across the world. Wherever you are, please take care of yourself, take care of your neighbors, your family, your friends, your community, your society, your civilization, your continent, and of course, the entire world is one family. The whole globe is one family as a human being, and we all got to put in our best of efforts, whatever we can do. The world has passed through very difficult challenges, very difficult times. All of us, we have seen lots of difficulties. I think after Spanish flu, this was something worst which has hit the world. Not only the health issues, the wellness issues, the mental issues, but with that, the challenges in education ecosystem, people lost jobs, a lot of entrepreneurship, the businesses, they were put out of gear. And at the same time, young boys and girls confined to their residences with their parents, I think lots of challenges. But like doctors, nurses, paramedical people, they're the great warriors. They have done great job. Similar way, our teachers, our educators, our counselors, our technocrats, and all the people, those are directly, indirectly in the education ecosystem, they have also done wonderful. And that's why we have come a long way. Our chamber has stood today. We are at 1246th webinar. That means 1245 webinars we have completed, and the title we kept, Making Education Relevant, Making Education Going. Somehow we have to rethink, repackage, refurbish, replan, rethink whatever has to be done in the entire education ecosystem. I'm grateful, and my deep gratitudes and thanks to Mr. Tyrone D. Brass, the headmaster from the Sherwood School, Meghalaya. He's a great civilian soldier who has done a great job with me. Almost 3-4 times we had done webinars together, one-to-one, in group, and a couple of deliberations we have done together. And he's the one who has taken initiative and brought these 5 yodhas, and we would say the 5 distinguished guest speakers and brothers and sisters, along with the global fraternity, faculty, confluence, podlocking, any term you can use. And it was something treat for us. On the World Teachers Day also, Mr. Tyrone had brought Mr. Dilip from Meghalaya. That was fantastic. People appreciate, and I think globally, everybody appreciated. I'd been requesting Mr. Tyrone for quite some time that we have done lots of programs. Why don't we build a kind of regiment or army of our teachers, educators, scholars, counselors, technocrats from the entire Northeast India together, all the 8 states when we talk about. And he was kind enough. We did a lot of brainstorming on that. And today is the result of that. We have done lots of programs in the Northeast. We have done education program. We have done principals programs. But we, for the first time, are having 5 distinguished guest speakers and family members from the Northeast India coming together from the entire region. Hearty welcome to our distinguished speakers. We are grateful to Professor Sujata Gurudevji, Dr. Johan, Mr. Pankaj Das, Mr. Karmo, and Indrajit Dattaji, and of course, my friend, my guide, my philosopher, my brother from the education fraternity, Mr. Tyrone, all the way from Northeast part of India. We extend a very hearty welcome to all of you. It's indeed a great, great pleasure to have all of you. And I wish to share with all of you, yesterday, everybody was celebrating Vijayadashmi, and people were having, it was a kind of a Vijay on Parajay, whatever you want to talk about. We were talking about altogether different in the 8 p.m. webinar. Like today we are having this program. Yesterday we had words carry power. That was such a wonderful program. And from world over, when we got the youth with the positivity, I think it was amazing. It was so hilarious and we learned so much. And finally, we zeroed down on a movie called The King's Speech, where the king picks up and improves his language and communication skills and tells, I have a voice. That was something fantastic yesterday, which was taken. Let's move on. International Chamber for Service Industry extends a very warm welcome. 31.4 million brothers and sisters, Indian diaspora abroad, and teachers and youth empowerment, very, very essential. Right from 25th of March, 2020, our chamber took on the entire journey, and we are just focusing on reaching out world over right from the morning till evening. Today, hearty welcome to 8 beautiful states of northeast part of India. Let's travel to Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya, Sikkim. All the wonderful people, the art, the craft, the culture, the cuisine, the dances, the music, the people, the education, the skills, the competencies, the capabilities. Wow. From time to time, these are some of the glimpses of the webinars which we have done with various inputs, and we wanted to bring lots of technology inputs in the Northeast. And I'm grateful to all these speakers who had been coming from time to time, and they had been the part of this particular journey. And I am thankful to these youngsters also when they had come over here. We talked about startups, we talked about motivation, and quite a bit we had taken the power of influence, incredible Northeast, and of course, motivational talk on the eve of the Teachers' Day also. Saturday, 4th of September, we got the youngsters and they all were there with us. Something fantastic. So ladies and gentlemen, during Corona, we all have gone through the challenges. We had lots of difficulties, lots of problems, but world is getting into the shape now, back to the order, but it has to be a sustainable development. And that's why the B2B is not business to business. It's back to basics of life. Basic food, basic health, basic wellness, basic education, and e-learning, digital learning, flip learning, blended learning, hybrid learning, whatever you want to call it. Sustainable development has to take care of. Earn and learn is also a buzzword. And as a gesture, earlier we were having finishing school, and that finishing school was taking care of a couple of areas which are related to the youth and educators, the teachers. But now during the pandemic, we realized, and as the government was also focusing on the new education policy right from 29th of July 2020, when the Honorable Prime Minister gave the green signal and the cabinet announced and everybody moved on, our chamber on the World Tourism Day, 27th September 2021, we launched India's first e-Gurukul for service industry. Everything free. No student got to pay any money. No teacher got to get any honorarium from us. And from the world over, it's not a formal education. It's not a formal skilling. It's basically wisdom sharing, knowledge sharing, expertise sharing. And we have initially taken 2 areas. One is tourism and second is entertainment industry. Because more than 5 crore people have suffered a lot during this pandemic from travel and tourism industry, hospitality industry, airline industry. So for this e-Gurukul, we have opened the floodgates and children can come 14 to 28 years of age. It's all free of cost. You can come on the web portal, ICSIindia.in, and you get the international certification. You meet the global faculty. You can meet anybody, everybody, and you can watch these videos and contents any point of time. The basic aim is all of us as a brother and sisters, we should get together world over. Tomorrow morning, 9:30, we will be going to the Woodbury University. We'll be with Professor Satinder Dhiman. And tomorrow evening, we will be taking you to Canada, where the Niagara Falls, and the lady who had spent 20 years with Air Canada, and now she's with the Wellness Sector Skill Council, Gurpreet Sable, inspirational speaker. She would be joining with us from Canada tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. at the same time, Inspiration for Youth. So, ladies and gentlemen, whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. It's not me, it's a Napoleon Hill. You must go through that book, audiobook. You can watch on the YouTube something amazing which I have come across when I walked this planet for 70 years. That's what I have learned over there. So with these words, let me extend a very warm welcome to our brothers and sisters. Those are joining us from the northeast part of India. Hearty welcome to all of you. Pleasure to have all of you. And we would request that let's start with Professor Sujata, and then in the sequence, we can take it on. And initially 1 or 2 minutes, you introduce yourself, your name, your expertise, your subject, where are you from, which state are you from, what exactly are you doing? And thereafter, we will take on the journey forward. Our basic focus is youth, educators, teachers, counselors, education ecosystem, empowerment, and then of course, we have got a special children also. They also need special attention. We got to be taking care of that as well. Some of the areas during this pandemic have suffered more, some have suffered less, but everybody has suffered. So we got to take on board everybody together. So let's move on and we work on, with these words, I would request Professor Sujata to kindly take it on, please. You got to unmute your mic, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
First of all, for this very, very kind introduction by Dr. Gulshan Sharma, thank you so much. And it's indeed a pleasure and honor to be part of this very, very erudite team of my fellow panelists who are here. And I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Professor Sujata Gurudev of the Northeastern Hill University, Tura campus. I've had an educational expertise of over 30 years. And my passion is youth education. And I am especially interested in indigenous communities, in Green Earth. And I believe very strongly in what you have just said, earn while you learn, because the pandemic, as you have rightly stated, has left us with that very, very important alternative that we have to empower our youths, and our youths are empowered in themselves also. So I think this is a 1 minute introduction. So
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. May I request Dr. John, sir, to kindly please take on, please. Sir, you got to unmute your mic. You got to unmute your mic, sir. Sir, you got to unmute your mic. Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic, yeah, please. Okay. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, good evening, Major Dr. Gulshan Sharma and the fellow panelists, eminent panelists out there. Thanks to my friend, Mr. Tyrone Debras, the principal of Sherwood School. I'm here. Happy to be here. I've been in the Northeast for the last 42 years. I came as a youngster after my matriculation. Basically, I'm an educationist. I've taught in schools. I became principal of a school, and of a BL college, and of a degree college. Now I am director of Don Bosco Institute of Management, as well as Don Bosco Institute, where we take care of the youth who are, let's say, displaced, dropouts, who are out there unemployed, who are nowhere to go, who have gone to school, have gone to colleges, but unable to speak, unable to write, unable to read. They feel they are basically useless in society, and they come over to my institute in Guwahati, Don Bosco Institute, and they learn a lot of skills. Basically, I am also a writer, motivational writer. I write inspirational books. I've written around 15 books, especially to motivate young people. So my passion is the young people, especially those who need guidance, who need motivation and inspiration. I'm there to help them. I think that's all what I can say right now. and later I shall speak about the youth, the questions related to youth, particularly on youth empowerment.
Very kind of you. Thank you very much. I was thinking that today I'm going to take a lead because 40 years I have been associated with Northeast. But brother, you have taken over 42 years. So you are 2 years ahead of me. I think I come second now. May I request Mr. Pankaj Das, please, to kindly take on.
Hello, everyone. I am from the capital city of Assam, that is Guwahati. I'm currently the director of a school, senior secondary school, that's called Modern English School. I have been working here as a vice principal, and now director. I'm also currently the president of All Assam Private Schools Association. And now I have started foraying into electoral politics. So that is me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The later part we won't touch. The electoral part, the politics we won't touch. Okay, then we maybe request Mr. Karmo to kindly share his vision.
Good evening, sir, and good evening, my fellow panelists. Thank you, Major Dr. Gulshan, for giving us a very comprehensive feedback on ICSI and the tremendous initiatives that you have taken for empowering people from across the globe, especially in India. My salutations and greetings to you and to the organization. Thank you so much to Tyrone and yourself. I heard you in the seminar when Dilip was there, and I really enjoyed it. I am presently in Shillong, the capital city of Meghalaya, and as you can see from my office, it's totally surrounded by jungle. I first came to the Northeast in 1979 and then went out and came back. And essentially, I'm a teacher and focusing on sustainable development. And my major passion and focus at the moment is how do we bring into the mainstream those that have been left behind. Our work mainly is across nearly 300-400 villages of Meghalaya. So mine is a very rural kind of an experience, and how do we bring together humans and the environment and let the forests be our teachers. And we run an inclusive school and we try and advocate for inclusion at all levels. And our organization, which is Bethany Society, our tagline is, we only segregate garbage. For everything else, we promote inclusion. Thank you, and I look forward to a very scintillating evening with all of you.
Very kind of you, sir. Very, very kind of you. And we only segregate garbage. That's the key word I have just picked up from there. Thank you. May I invite now Mr. Indrajit Datta from the Royal Global University. Indeed, my last visit to Guwahati, when there was an international conference at Radisson Blu, that was the time I visited. It was a motivational, and I think something with the tourism and hospitality with your university. And your Honorable Vice Chancellor is very vibrant with us on many programs. Please go ahead, Mr. Indrajit Dattaji.
Good evening, esteemed panelist. Am I audible to all of you?
Sure, please.
It's indeed an honor, and I would like to thank the organizers, ICSI, for having me here. I'm an alumni of St. Edmund's School, Shillong, St. Anthony's College, Shillong. Then I moved on to Calcutta and alumni of IAM. And I've been associated with the hotel industry for about 15 years. Then I shifted gear because of family obligation, came back to Shillong. I'm actually an Assamese based in Shillong, working in Guwahati. Interesting thing about my life is at 20, I did my graduation. At 40, I did my post-graduation. At 49, I'm doing my PhD. And I've been associated with a lot of students, right from my hotel industry timings also. And I always believe that we cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. And it's indeed a pleasure for me to be in between such eminent panelists. And I'm sure participants will definitely learn, but I too will definitely learn in the August company. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got such a vibrant panel and such a wonderful people. My brothers and sisters, they all coming from northeast part of India. People, those are joining us from abroad, I wish to share that I think being a North Indian, the planet which I walked and that time which I spent in Northeast is much more than, and I have already prayed to Almighty that next birth I'm going to be born in Northeast, because I have traveled so much Northeast and so much. My first job, my first salary, my first rank, my first rest all should be dash, 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 because that should not come, because now I'm happily married and having 2 kids, everything nicely. So what I wish to share is that life is a wonderful journey for all of us. And what can bring harmony? What can bring global peace? And what can bring equality? That is something very important which we all have to share. And I think that is through the lens of education. Education is the only tool. I won't use a word weapon. I will call it a tool. It's a wonderful tool which we can utilize, and how to utilize, which way to utilize, and particularly children, those drop out. We would like to make a request to you that the government of India has taken lots of initiative. And during this pandemic, all the things which are coming free of cost to you, pick up any skill of your choice, any skill, but you must pick up something. Don't sit idle. That is what we all have to take it on. Now, we would like to, because I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 distinguished guests this evening. So at least 500 rupees each, I would like to give for 5 questions. That will be coming for the audience. You can post your answers on the YouTube. Question we will keep designing. There is nothing pre-planned. It will be all spontaneous coming from the deliberations. And our chamber would like to give 5 prizes this evening, 500 rupees each. And also we will try and give first preference to children from the Northeast. And let us see if somebody else from rest of the India is also giving correct answer. We will try and work it out. But first preference I would like to give to our children from Northeast. Let me just first go to Professor Sujata, Gurudev ma'am. And I would like that teacher and youth empowerment when you were talking about, how would you like to, and we want all practical solution, because this chamber has done so much of global deliberations so far. We got more than 10,000 speakers which have come on this platform during pandemic. And more than 1 lakh youth have joined from the world over. They have come. Those have been the part of the journey. Today, we have invited especially the teachers, the educators, the counselors, the technocrats, and children, the youth from the Northeast part of India. How would you like to empower? I'm very keen about teachers, because I strongly believe personally, it's my personal opinion, if the teachers will be empowered, youth will be automatically empowered. Because youth already has got so much through social media. Today, they don't require information. They've got plenty of it. What they are looking forward to is something innovative, creative. How would you like to empower teachers? And then from there, we should go to the youth. That is my request to Professor Sujata ma'am.
Thank you. Now, my take on this is very clear, that the pandemic, we have to empower youth for a post-pandemic scenario. We are not looking at the world as it existed pre-pandemic. We are looking at it post-pandemic. So when you look at the world post-pandemic and you realize that the youth of today, and India has about, in 2020, it would be 29% or more of the population is youth. Now, what did the pandemic bring in its wake? It brought many related issues, which are very, very important. If you noticed that the pandemic had, kind of driven everyone back inside. It was almost as if it was a global pen into which humanity was shuttered. And the youth especially had to face a lot of challenges. The challenges came from being in a very claustrophobic, enclosed space. That was the first challenge that they had to face. The second challenge was that they had to find alternative sources of livelihood because families were collapsing due to lack of income. Now, when we talk about empowering youth, the post-pandemic empowerment is not something where you go on adding. It's not just adding. It's like there's two ways of empowering. The one way of empowering is where you keep giving, you keep giving freebies and you keep telling them that this, I'm giving you this, I'm giving you that. The other way of empowering is that you allow the youth self-empowerment from the self. You empower them to have that, and they don't require much empowerment in that sense, but they need the proper atmosphere whereby what is inside comes out, the creativity comes out, because you need to earn and learn at the same time. So you need to have a very, very viable system. Now, what is going to happen is this, that you are going to make that youth, the youth is going to have the belief system, the empowering belief system. The negative systems have to be completely disbanded. You have to create that atmosphere where the child can be nurtured in a very, very positive atmosphere. And that is the first and most important belief system. It is a belief, youth empowerment. Youth itself, self is empowering. When you empower another, when you give them a vision, when you give them a goal, when you give them a reason to live, a kind of responsibility, that is what is needed. They need to take that on. It's like a young tree. It needs to be rooted. It needs to develop its roots, and it needs to give of itself. In that itself, it will draw into the earth and get sustained. So it's very, very important that those beliefs are there. Most of the youths I found during the pandemic, almost every one of them had an alternative source of livelihood. They, baking, cooking, delivery of goods, etc. They were supporting. So it's very important, and that is why the NEP, the National Educational Policy, is giving you this, is giving you an opportunity to come into education at various levels to develop and learn skills. That's very important, because you cannot have just education. You've got to have it oriented towards life. It is life education. That is very important. And I believe that is the first thing we need to look at.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Could I request Dr. John, brother from the Don Bosco Institute of Management? You mentioned that you're a motivational writer. Let me tell you that sharing with you 4th of October on the eve of the World Teachers Day, and on the 5th of October, the World Teachers Day, the special program which we had with Mr. Dilip Mukherjee, it was a treat for my soul. It was a treat for my heart, my vision, my cerebrum, because some common threads which we found. He and me, both of us, we knew Sir Ken Robinson so well, and we shared a lot of thoughts because we lost him. Whenever I used to meet him, I used to be just like a small kindergarten child. I wanted to learn everything, something new from him. And now Dr. Sugata Mitra, who says that hole in the wall. And if you see the further whatever he has given on the education ecosystem, there are going to be a new packaging and new challenges post-pandemic, which we all are going to face. And particularly when you have written so much on motivation and you have talked about it today, just imagine the scenario when after a few days or a couple of months, everything will get opened up. People will come to school, colleges, institution with lot of pre-apprehension. That is, should I shake a hand or not? Should I talk too close to a person? Should I hug my friend or not? Whether the third wave is coming or not? And a couple of other challenges which are, hovering our mind, and particularly physical wellness, mental wellness, economic wellness, spiritual wellness, environmental wellness, all that when we are talking about, how do you plan to bring a bridge between teachers and the students through the motivational kind of a thing? Because you're a motivational writer. As a student, I would like to learn that from you, brother.
Thank you, Major Dr. Gulshan Sharma. Thanks to Professor Sujata Gurudev for the wonderful sharing that she has given to us. When I look into the Northeast and having lived with the young people, of course, now I am mainly with the youth. Of course, the management student, we were having the online classes. But I am particularly interested in the youth who are, like Mr. Karma was telling, who are displaced, who are dropouts, who have nowhere to go. We are giving them rehabilitation and training. So having lived in the Northeast for so many years, what I realized that Northeast is rich in promise and high on potential. They have so much of talent here. And through our motivation, look, when I reached first here, there were very few things in the whole of Northeast. I came last, Mr. Karmo said in 1979, after my matriculation, I came here. Now, wherever I have been, whether in the school or in the college, my job was to motivate the students, motivate them through the school assembly or the college assembly, through stories taken from the place, or stories that will really inspire and give them a boost. What I realized is that if we are able to recharge them, energize them, enthuse them, and spirit them up, that they can do it, that they are capable, they are second to none, that they have immense potentialities hidden inside them. And if you keep on telling them on a daily basis, we are going to have tremendous result. So along with these motivational or inspirational books that I write, we make motivational videos. I think Mr. Tyron will be familiar with many of my videos. On a weekly basis, we used to release short videos that will inspire the young people to achieve, inspire them to pursue excellence, to pursue success, that they are capable, and that nothing should hinder them from their growth. We have a very simple practice here in our Don Bosco Institute of Management, where we tell our students to take a book, particularly related to management, and they have to go through the book, and during the morning assembly, every student has to present a summary of that book in 7 minutes. Thus they learn the management techniques, the ability to communicate, which is one of the important soft skills or life skills that we talk about. And then they go through to speak in the assembly. Look, I tell them, you have to be really proficient, good at it. So they are given a mentor, they are given a teacher, and the teacher will go through the text with them. They practice it and they come onto the platform and they give it, and they in turn motivate all their companions. And this is one of the things that we have been doing on with all the batches of our management students, and it has worked wonders. Added to that, what we do in our institute in the morning assembly and the evening, we have these motivational stories. Here, one of the things that I find in the Northeast is that they are low on their performance. Somehow they don't feel the confidence. The self-confidence level is like. the self-image is down, the self-esteem. So we have to boost up their esteem. For example, when I was in the college, I used to be the first one giving the test to the students. I used to tell the teachers, let me give the first test. And in the first test, what I do, I give them all a very high percentage of marks, very high percentage of marks. And so once they get this percentage of marks, they are somehow boosted up. Oh, we have got so much mark, we are capable. But many teachers in many schools give a very low percentage. That actually demotivates them. So their energy level comes up because they realize that they are capable of doing. So what I realize is that to empower the youth of Northeast, my simple techniques are this, that is, nurture the spirit of excellence and foster commitment in this youth to pursue excellence through quality service. Whether we are running a school, whether we are running an institute or a skill-based center, we have to instill that quality in. That quality comes through us, the leaders who are there. We motivate our teachers to perform and to showcase the talent, and then the students get energized and they really feel that they can do it. Instill that self-worth, that self-esteem, that self-confidence, that they are second to none, that they have the power to compete and perform at the highest level. And I realized after being here, I'm basically born in South India. But after coming here, I realized if the people of Northeast got the facilities that our people got in South India, these people would be far above, because they have been deprived for years of isolation and deprivation. They have been deprived. But having got, now when we know their talent, when we know their potential, look, even in the Olympics, we in the Northeast, we are getting medals. Our people are getting less opportunity to have the training. Still, they are coming up through their basic talent. If the talent is nurtured and motivated, I think they can perform. Empowering the marginalized, as Mr. Karmo said, the downtrodden, the marginalized through, especially the risk groups, though the children at a risk level who have nowhere to go, giving them a subsidized type of education or free education and sponsoring them and making them capable, employable. That is one. Of course, in our institute, we are running what is called the skill-based program, hospitality sector, as Sir Pankaj, not Sir Pankaj, Mr. Indrajit is, I think, mostly in the hospitality sector also. We train students in the hospitality sector for front office, for food and beverage, for housekeeping. We have the beautician course. We have different type of computer-based courses. We have the spoken English course. We have the aviation training, all skill-based courses where they can get employment. So I think through our motivation, that energy level that we pass on to our students on a daily basis, that you are capable, that you are smart, that you are competent, that you can do it. I think that is the spirit which we are trying to instill, and it is working wonders here wherever I have worked, and particularly here in this institute. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, brother. It was something really very motivating. What was the second line when you mentioned rich in promise? And what was the second line?
High on potential, rich in promise and high on potential. That means they have tremendous potential.
Yes, great, great. Something very, very nice. And self-esteem we have to work on. That's what you have given to us. That is something very nice. We will work on that. Thank you very much, brother. Let me now just move on to Mr. Pankaj Das, the Modern English School, which is in Guwahati, in Assam. And let's talk a little bit about, because Northeast, particularly when we talk about, our children are very comfortable with the English language particularly. And something very interesting. We had one program on school education, higher education, new pedagogies and andragogies. And there was a director tourism, director school education, who came with a guitar on the stage. He first played the music and thereafter he addressed the audience. So how do you feel that particularly in education, how the entertainment component, music component, language component, all that can play very important role for us. What is your take on education? How would you like to share your vision with us, Mr. Pankaj Dasji?
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. The way I would like to proceed is to first share with you what do we mean by what is the goal of education, and then how do we achieve that. Now, to achieve this, just an introduction part, that I may be, or you may be, or any of the people who are watching this or participating in this discussion may be the best teachers in the whole world, but we don't teach. At the most, we can teach for 4 hours every day. I will have, let's say, 40 sections in my school, and let's say 6 periods. So this is 240 periods every single day. I can take hardly 6 periods. So it is the teachers who will, whether we want it or not, who are going to change the practice. So education is in practice is in the hands of the teachers. There is a Michael Fullan wrote in one of his books that if only we could legislate what teachers think. So whatever we may do or say, it is the teachers who are going to practice that. So they are the key. So I'll come back to this point in my second part. So what I think about what is education is, when I talk about skills, I mostly mean, for me, it means thinking skills. Because if we cannot analyze and we cannot evaluate our options and we cannot come up with new solutions, then whatever we say or do, it is meaningless. For example, technology changes, and I was sent one video by Mr. Dibras, where the one scientist, Japanese scientist, I forgot his name again, he told that there may be different, say liver would be grown in medical labs. So if there is any alcoholic, he or she may not need to worry. But what about the financial implications? And what about the torture that the family goes through? So whenever there is any technological advancement, this brings with it social issues. Let's say our human lives goes up to 200, which researchers in Harvard, they're saying that the body is designed for 160, 170 years. How do we trick it into not aging? But what will it make family life? Will we be okay with the same partner? Will that destroy our family? Family as a structure of the society? So these are questions that we do not even know. We do not know if this situation, what if Brahmaputra dries up because of all these geopolitical things? What will be the condition of Assam if Brahmaputra becomes a small river? So these are problems of which we do not know the answer. Therefore, the only way to go forward is to develop thinking skills. But I'm very worried, I'm very concerned, I'm deeply concerned and disappointed with the way the world has proceeded. Let me say a very controversial thing. As different people have said, that education is not a safe space, not in the university. You will be talking about the murderous ideologies of Stalin, Lenin, Mao Zedong, Pol Pot. Because of these ideologies, crores and crores of people were killed. Let's say Naomi Park, so that I could live. This is perhaps the title of the book. I may be wrong here and there. So Naomi Park, she says that just in order to leave the kind of things that she had to go through from North Korea, she came to China to be sold as a slave into sex slavery. Then she went to US. Now she resides in Chicago. So the kind of things they have to discuss in colleges. So these cannot be safe spaces. You have to be exposed to all these ideas. You have to be exposed to Mein Kampf so that you never repeat those things. I have been in Cambodia. I have seen the Killing Field Museum. It is so horrific. I teared up. So And these are because of ideology. So if we want to protect our children by not thinking into this, let's say the pandemic, the way we have decided to handle the pandemic. If I were to say that this is a completely stupid and idiotic way to lock down, because it is totally against science. Science is not belief. Science is not religion. Science is about question. But we are believing, we are not even listening to dissenting voices. Whereas Sweden has proved that they did not do any lockdown. Just a tiny bit of restriction, not more than 50 people. Not a single day of class was stopped up to class 10. And no child died. Yet we have done what epidemiologists had completely gone against. And we have taken it to be a religion. Now, if I were to say this, I am saying it, but let's assume it is not my view. But if I were to say, Google doesn't allow me, YouTube doesn't allow me, Facebook doesn't allow me. So all such videos are banned. Yet there is always this minority, the minority of one, who has always said opposing views. And that is how we say something and we discuss on this logically. And when we find it doesn't work, we drop it. When we find it works, we develop. That is how Galileo said that the sun does not revolve around Earth, but he was jailed. The whole of the world believed that the Earth was flat, Earth is flat. Now, what if the plate tectonics theory is wrong? What if evolution theory is wrong? Who knows? I mean, why not listen to it? Why not let people think about, talk about it? If we do not have a place where we need to think, if we talk about, I see schools giving uniforms to teachers. What is this? Teachers are supposed to be divergent thinkers. We cannot wear uniform. That is good in those places where discipline is required. But educational institutions are not those. We are intellectual people. We need to ask questions. We do not believe anything. Because logic is not based on belief. So thinking skill has gone down the drain. Finished, destroyed. This is one thing that worries me. And this is the main thing that I would say is the target. When I say skill, these are vocational skills are fine. You know, so let's say if I were to say climate change. Of course, climate changes every day. It will be like saying the sun rises in the east. Of course it does. Of course, climate changes. But the question we need to ask is, if the Arctic has melted and we see trees there, how did the tree grow there at first? Because 70-80% of the time, geographical status of Earth, there were no ice. Ice is there only 20-25% of the time. So we need to ask, if the polar ice cap is melting, then why do we see trees there? Simple questions. I'm not saying pollution is a real issue, but we cannot accept things on belief. An educated person must ask questions, or we would still be rubbing the boots of the British. So we need change. We need to ask questions. We need to analyze. We need to teach our students how to ask questions. Do not believe me. We must tell our students that do not believe what I say. Find it out for yourself. Every education, every newspaper has its bias. Say Chandigarh's the Tribune. It does not want private investment. India Today wants. So different people have got different biases. We need to study everything. We need to analyze everything. So that is what is the goal of education. And the sad thing is, we have been talking about this since the time of basic education, 1930s, Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan Committee, I mean, hundreds of reports. But we have not acted on it. What has happened? What is the status of education? You all know with the ASAR report or the National Survey of NCERT. And all those surveys shows us that a class 8 student, class 5 student cannot do 2-digit addition. This is the condition of our schools today. In PISA test 2009 plus, we came out second from the bottom. Some 89-90 countries participated. We were just above Kyrgyzstan. That is our status. So we need to ask this. Second thing is, who will actually change education? It is the teachers. We may do all webinars and seminars till donkeys, cows come home, but the change will be brought by the teachers. The question is, in 2007 itself, McKinsey did a conclusive study titled How the World's Best Performing School Systems Come Out on Top. There, they found that all the best performing systems, like South Korea's primary school system, or Singapore, which has come out on top. Canada is doing very well. It has improved quite a lot. Finland has been always doing very well. So all these systems have three things in common. Number one, get the best people into teaching. Get the best people for teaching. So what is required in teaching? Number one, communication. Our B.Ed course does not have a chapter on communication. It does not say breathing techniques. It doesn't talk about theater techniques, not in B.Ed course. So first, get those people who are suitable for teaching, get the best people into teaching. Secondly, train them well. And third, see to that each and every child gets the attention that is required. Those countries, those systems that are doing these three, they improve. Now see here, all of us are from the private sector. Why? Because we may talk all sorts of big goody things. Government may be spending thousands of rupees per child, probably 60,000-70,000 rupees per child. None of us are, our jobs, our schools should be shut down. Government is providing free education. But people have chosen to send their students to us. Why? Because this whole system probably spending more than 1 lakh crore rupees every year, going down the drain, fattening the pockets of politicians, bureaucrats, and contractors. That is what is education today. So how do we do that? That is the question. But I believe that is another long discussion. So my concern and the way that I would like to work, and I am working, is how to empower the teachers. And that is why we organize trainings. Father John also does it. He has got a training program. And we are starting those kind of things. Probably every month we are going to have it now. And we have had training programs from the best educational institutions of the world, including the OISE, Ontario Institute for Studies in Education, IOE, UCL IOE. So all these places we are trying to collaborate. And of course, we have seen changes, but one again big thing and a controversial thing is that we want our teachers to have not only a single lesson plan. Now, mind you, very few teachers have a single lesson plan every day, but we are talking about variated lesson plan. Not only one lesson plan, but 3 lesson plans. We want teachers to design engaging questions. We want them to design multiple choice questions which will have subjective replies. So assessment technology has improved. So in assessment, because whatever we want or do not want, we may think that pedagogy should lead education, assessment, but it does not happen in reality. Assessment leads pedagogy, because let's say the blueprint, question paper blueprint says 1 mark questions will come from this teacher. Teachers will go for wide and extensive study, but not in-depth study. The blueprint says from this chapter 1 8 mark question will come. They will go for intensive study, but not wide study. So whether we want or do not want, willy-nilly, assessment leads pedagogy. So teachers are expected to be experts in curriculum, in pedagogy, in assessment. And what do we pay? We know the kind of salary the private schools pay. And government salary is also not that good, but it's okay now. But because of other issues, job related thing, government job, I know their job is safe whether they work or not. So both ways, private and government, I am not satisfied with the quality of teachers. And if we, in Assamese, we have a saying, Uporle thwale nijor gate poribo. If we speed up, it will fall on our own heads. So we are all responsible for it. So until and unless we address these things, we are not going to go anywhere. NEP 86, NEP 2020, NEP 2040, everything will go down to 0.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Pankaj Das ji. Very well said. You're all the words which you have made a mention. And ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking about soft skills, hard skills, thinking skills. Now, this is a new term which he has used, thinking skills. We have been talking about all kind of skills, but thinking skill, this is also the buzzword we must make use of. This is very, very appropriate. Then when he has touched to get the best of teachers, yes. And 3 very important points: communication skills, breathing technique, and theater techniques, how every child should get the attention. And our chamber very strongly recommended to the UNESCO, to the United Nations also, when the director UNESCO inaugurated our couple of programs for the youth, we made a mention that the teacher from the 1st to the 5th standard should be highest paid, because anybody who's taking care of those children, that is the Herculean task, and that's the most difficult task which we have to take care of. Now, Dr. John, brother, you have raised the hand. Should I go ahead or should I? Yeah, your mic is muted. Your mic is muted.
Okay. Major Dr. Gulshan, I just want to compliment Mr. Pankaj, for his wonderful analysis and presentation about thinking skills. So we have been talking about critical thinking skill, but thinking, when I talk about education, he spoke about the teacher. The teacher is basic. And now teaching for me should lead to learning.
Yes.
The teaching should lead to learning, learning should lead to understanding, and then to reflect on what they have understood and then come out with thinking. Thinking will lead to questioning. I said questioning is important. And that questioning only will give rise to what we say creativity or inventions or idea generation. So it's a kind of circle. I just want to compliment what Mr. Pankaj says. He says, even in my institute, in the DBI, not the DBIM, we have students who have completed schooling, as I said in the introduction, matriculation, +2, degree, but they are, when we ask them to read a passage, they cannot. When we ask them to speak, they cannot. When we ask them to write, they cannot. Can you dance? We cannot. Can you paint? No. Can you sing? I mean, what is the use of running all our schools, all our educational centers, if our children, after going to so many years of learning, they are unable to read, unable to write, unable to speak, unable to sing or dance, and they have so much talent in Northeast. This is a very, very basic issue. Are our schools really functioning? Especially, Sir has mentioned about the government schools. They make the policies and they send their children to our private schools because a lot of money is wasted on them. But then I think it's a very beautiful thing. Thinking skills, getting the teachers to get them to learn and to make them understand, make them to reflect, and then to think, question, and come out with creative ideas. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. John. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, something very interesting what has been mentioned over here right now. I wish to share with all of you. A few days back, we had a session with Australia. What a wonderful outcome was there. And when he was talking about Mr. Pankaj Das, the New Education Policy 2020, but then he was totally emotionally charged and he went up to 2040 also. I was worried that he may go up to 2060 also. So I thought that, well, that is there. But, the conclusion of that deliberation was, earlier the education was teaching centric. Then we talked that now the New Education Policy 2020, education to be learning centric. And the future is going to be the post-pandemic. The teacher and the students are co-learners. They are co-learners. There is nothing which you can, because the technology has moved at such a quantity, quality, and speed. There are 3 concerns. We will talk some other day because the paucity of time, but I'll certainly do justice with my 2 other speakers also. Audience is asking me, where are your questions? So the thing is, they're waiting for the prize. So ladies and gentlemen, somebody has also written to me in a very polite way on my WhatsApp that Kaun Banega Karodpati, first question is 1,000 rupees. Why have you reduced Northeast to 500 rupees today? Well, I'm going to have less questions, less time. But let the question be for 1,000 rupees. Here goes the first question before I go to Mr. Carmo. The question is going to be very, very simple. Let me share with you. Northeast next to our heart. 8 beautiful states. There's a lots of culture, amalgamation of culture, heritage, art, craft, cuisine, dances, music, everything. Honorable Prime Minister of India from the rampant, on 15th of August, he announced something very important. And he told all of us, we should travel at least 15 places within India to promote domestic tourism during pandemic up to December 2022. So we still have got 1 year and 2 months left over. My question for 1,000 rupees goes, and teachers are not to participate, it's only for students. Okay. Now, question is very simple. Indian Railway with the Ministry of Tourism few days back in Guwahati signed one MOU. And all the way the Honorable Union Minister had gone to Guwahati. Hemanta Biswa Sarmaji was also there, the Honorable Chief Minister. And Mr. Kishan Reddy had gone all the way, the Union Minister, who is a tourism minister, who is a culture minister, and he is also the Northeast Minister. So he had gone to Guwahati, and there was some MOU which was being signed over there. It was between Indian Railways and Ministry of Tourism. I'll give you a specific organization also, IRCTC. Okay, that is the body of the railways. Now, my question for 1,000 rupees, and whosoever writes the first correct answer, you get 1,000 rupees. There is a new tourist train which is starting for Northeast. On which date it is starting? You have to tell me on which date it is starting. Number two, which railway station it is starting? How many days that train is going to be and how many nights? And then finally, how many states of Northeast this train will travel to? Anybody who writes these 5 things correctly, you get 1,000 rupees quickly. I'm sure somebody from the tourism background, hospitality background, or those who have been watching news carefully, you'll be able to get 1,000 rupees this evening. Very simple. I've repeated this question earlier 3 times in my webinar, and I have given to the people. It all depends on you. If you're smart enough, you get 1,000 rupees. Okay, let me move on to Mr. Karmo Naronha, the Batne Society from Shillong. And ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about inclusive education, when you talk about all children to be taken in the same fold, in the main fold, and everybody got to be given the equal treatment, you got to tell me, let's have the views from Mr. Karmo. How do we bring that justice? How do we go by these special children, particularly those are having, I won't call it disability, I will call they are special. And these children, how they should be brought into manifold, main fold, and they should also get the equal attention, and the whole ecosystem of the education should move ahead, inclusive. Mr. Karmo. Sir. Karmo, sir. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah. Yes.
Yes,
Can you
please
hear
go
me?
ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
Good evening. I started teaching in 1971, and listening to the wonderful thoughts that have emanated today, I realize how little I know about education. And coming back to the fact that we continue to be lifelong learners. I started off by saying that we only segregate garbage. And I think the 2 most important problems that are facing India today, and perhaps the globe, is one is how do we manage garbage? And the second one is how do we make sure that everyone gets included? The solutions that we are following is, what we do is we mix all our garbage, and then we spend a lot of money sending trucks, etc., to segregate it. It's a thoroughly inefficient system. And we segregate students. Right from the time they come into school, we have entrance tests. Imagine at the age of 2 and 3, children are being segregated. When the solution is very simple, you just change the strategy. You segregate garbage and you mix children, and that is the solution. And our education system actually, and Pankaj, etc., have spoken about it, Father John, is built on what is called the mythical average. That we treat everyone as average. Everybody gets the same textbook. Everybody gets the same methodology. And I endorse what all the other people have said. So we are working on a program where we have only one campus, and our major focus is collaborating with the government for rural schools, government schools, how do we empower teachers? And we are trying to work on a system where we no longer call it the school, we call it the learning sanctuary. And sir, you mentioned that we are to be lifelong learners. So once you come into our campus, everybody is a learner. We literally segregate garbage and we use the forest. The forest doesn't have a municipality. Yet, how does it manage waste? Because what is not required in one system is used in another system. So in our learning sanctuary, and this is for everybody learns sign language. The principal of our school, which is an inclusive school which follows the Meghalaya state curriculum, where all children are welcome. For 16 years, the principal of our school was a blind lady. Right from preschool to class 12. So this is not a miracle. It's not a miracle. It's about creating opportunities. And what we are saying is, be the same goals for everybody, but please use a flexible system. The means for reaching the goals can be flexible because there is diversity in the classroom. So for example, you were talking about communication. Everyone in our school, and we promote this across. For example, very often we are asked to talk to the police, etc., and so on promoting advocacy. The first thing we do is we teach everybody sign language. So in our school, there is sign language taught to be able to embrace and celebrate diversity. And no matter who are the educators over here, if you know a little bit of science, you call what is known as white light. But the moment you put that light through the prism, you get a rainbow. You get into 7 colors. And that is what you have in the classroom. So you have a blind child sitting with a child with hearing and visual impairments, sitting with a child who's scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, sitting with a child who's rich, somebody who's poor. This is the reality of India. And how do we promote this reality in an inclusive setting? And for me, the answer is universal design of learning. That we need to promote this where you are tight on goals but loose on means. And I always have this in my thing. I call this the flexi man. That when the students don't perform, the teachers are trained to ask, is the curriculum performing, not the student? And we are saying the problem is in the system. And so I say it very, very openly. We are not interested in private schools. We are not interested in schools because they have the means. We are saying get back to those that are left behind, to teachers who are left behind, and we promote a learning sanctuary. For example, you come into our school, we have chickens who are using garbage to build soils, and we use those soils to cultivate vegetables, and we train students to do that. Whether they are blind or deaf or not deaf, they all do it. They learn it and they learn enterprise to it. We recycle all our paper. We recycle all the water. We use, and this is not something great, we use solar energy, and we try and do that, replicate that in villages. So what we are saying is the focus should be on creating learning sanctuaries. And a sanctuary is a space where people are ready to make mistakes, learn from the mistakes, and feel safe to make mistakes. Without recognizing that, there can be no learning. The final point that I want to make is that You need to create opportunities for everybody. And even today, so and I don't call them special children, I don't call them thing. Our focus is, where are the barriers that prevent children from learning? Identify the barriers and work for the barriers, to remove those barriers and train your teachers to change those barriers. My final thing is, please remember, you cannot change this. The brain was designed for survival. The brain was designed for survival, to solve problems related to survival in an outdoor setting. And this is what the pandemic has taught us. And what have we done for the last 70 years? We have stuffed children into classrooms. When survival is meant for exercise, the brain is meant for exercise. So somebody was talking about uniforms. I think the only uniform that children need are tracksuits, because without exercising, without breathing, the brain doesn't work. You need a break every 20 minutes. You need to train teachers for that. You need to train people for mindfulness. So these are a few of the thoughts. So my last thing is, and it was mentioned on thinking, we need to change rote to rat, because presently the system is rote, and rat means remember, recall, apply, and transfer. We are way past the industrial age, but our education is following the industrial age. We are way past the knowledge age. We are at creative, problem-solving, technological age. And I think the pandemic has opened the world, so we can't build back better. We need to relook at, what are the classrooms of the 21st century going to be? Last point is, 90% of jobs that class 1 students will be doing when they finish have not been discovered. So how do we change our system for that? The only solution is train children for survival in a totally different age. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. You have taken me to my back old days of 1971 and 72. Before you get your army commission, you are given 10 days survival camp. And in that camp, you are given only one water bottle of 1 liter, and you are given 1 kg, kind of shakarpara or a grams or something. And 10 days you have to survive in a jungle with a compass. And on the 10th day, you are altogether a different human being. This body has got so much of endurance, and this body can take on so much. Something very nice you made a mention, that the brain was designed to survive. Am I correct, sir? What did you use the word?
Survival.
Yes, survival. Okay. And create the learning sanctuaries, and let us start learning sanctuary and universal design of learning. Fantastic. Each and every word. You made me speechless, sir. And the other day I was mesmerized by Dilip sir. And today I feel that you come from the same camp somewhere, I do not know, but Karmoji, you are somewhere on the same track, on the same lines, in the same direction, somewhere moving over there, because unless we do not touch each and every child, and so well said, the entrance test, children are segregated right from the beginning. I mean to say, that is something I do not know, sir. I do not know. You all are educationists. I'm just a soldier at heart, and thought processes of travel and tourism, because I'm the first Indian Army officer who did master's and PhD into tourism. And I'm the first Indian Army officer to move on deputation to the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. And I'm just, when I was a higher secondary, when I moved to the Indian Army, And I drafted India's MBA tourism with my entire team in 1988. Anything is possible on this planet when you have a will, when you have a desire, you have a zeal, and you bring that kind of a teamwork over there. Anything we all can achieve. And that's my prayer this evening to all of you, that why not we should build a forum of educators, scholars, and counselors of all the 8 states together of the Northeast. Why are we working in isolation? Every Saturday we have dedicated to Northeast. I have been getting my all experts every Saturday, different speaker, different arenas. Why can't we work a direction? Let's work in the direction that all educators, all teachers, all counselors, all technocrats, anybody who is directly or indirectly with the education ecosystem, we should move with that vision. The wonders can be done. The problem is when we work in isolation, we sometimes do not achieve the desirable goals and what we put the objective. We have come to Indrajit Dattaji. He's from the tourism and hospitality. And, customer delight is very important to his heart. And amazing the customer is also very important for him. That's why he waited patiently that let me be the last person. And when I talk about your prestigious university, I really enjoyed each and every moment interacting and meeting everybody over there. Let's hear you, because during this pandemic, my brothers, sisters, those are from tourism, almost 5 crore people had the challenge. Travel agents, tour operator, tourist transporters, hoteliers. When I talk about India having more than 1,200 hotel management institutions, 950 travel and tourism institutions. Imagine the children, those have not seen the second year or the third year, and they would just be passing out from there. And I was talking to one of my colleagues in Dubai. He could not generate even one employment for me. He said, don't touch at this point of time. Things are pretty difficult for all of us. So Indrajit Dattaji, let's have the Royal Global University from Guwahati sharing the vision with us.
Thank you so much, sir. Let me first talk about the youth empowerment concerning the Northeastern states. I had taken some data out in the morning, and I think we are about 20 lakh plus youth in Northeastern states. And the age group, we're looking between 15 to 35 years of age. Northeast has its own challenges, as you are all aware. We have alcoholism, drugism, and all other challenges, the youths have to undergo. One thing that is very uncommon here, when you're looking at about almost 20 lakh youths of the Northeastern states, their unemployment rate is very high as compared to mainland India. I'm sure because the opportunities are also very less. Okay. Now, a country or a region, where you have literate people, illiterate people, and unemployed people, I think it's, some combination of some time bomb that we're sitting at, would explode. And with COVID pandemic restrictions, especially the travel and tourism being hit very hard, I am personally aware of a lot of my friends and seniors who are tourism stakeholders. They just barely managed to keep the shop open. But a lot of people, have left the jobs or were told to leave the job because, there was no revenue to pay for the wages. Okay. It has been really tough for the last 22 months, I guess. At the moment, I'm in Shillong, and during these Puja holidays, there has been a mad rush of a lot of tourists which is coming to Meghalaya. So slowly, the things are looking a little brighter at the moment. From the students' perspective, if a hotel management course is for a 3 years course, and out of that 22 months, they are only in online mode, an online graduate and actual people passing out graduate is a totally different thing altogether. Northeastern region has got its unique, qualities. It does have its own challenges. But when we are looking at a lot of hotel management students who graduate, from Northeast and are absorbed in anywhere in the hotels in Northeast or maybe in mainland India and also abroad, it has been the attrition rates. They seem to quit at the various SQs. And the parents also, that we have met, they also support the students that any small issues, whether it's a climate or food related or social, any small reason, they come back. And what happens when they come back? They're back to square one. I think the mindset of not only the students, but the mindset of the parents also should undergo some kind of learning, because we are looking at a situation where most of the families, correct me if I'm wrong, are looking for a comfortable job for their daughters and son, preferably a government job where they don't have to work. As a result, what is happening, a lot of this tourism infrastructure built by the state government, tourism development corporations, etc. I am not sure of any establishment that these people have not given on lease to some private party. Except, I think the Pinewood Hotel Shillong, which is still running, and I think it is still managing some kind of profits so that they can pay the salaries and wages for the other officials of the tourism department. I think I'm not too sure even the Assam government, whether it's the tourism bungalows or tourism hotels, I'm sure they are all leased out to private parties. Now, what could be the reason? The skill development classes, I'm sure, Dr. John, if you remember me, I was associated with IHM Kolkata, IHM Shillong, and I had been to your institute a couple of times. And, since we run Hunar, say, Rojgar skill development courses, and these courses are actually meant for people from the lower financial background. But you'll be very surprised, there are people coming in their expensive cars and bikes and attending those classes where they're not very serious. And then you may point a finger at us, then why are you taking those people? Because I think the government of India has given us some targets, so targets needs to be filled up. So I guess those are some of the reasons where the whole purpose gets defeated. The syllabus is definitely, very good as far as, developing skills for these youths, especially in the food and beverage or food production or, housekeeping aspects, But then the syllabus does not have, courses where, that can train the mental strength of the students in case when the going gets tough. So those kind of curriculum are also very, very important. And I think for the tourism, the hospitality industry, I am keeping my fingers crossed that we do not get, more waves. Looking at the present trend and looking at probably all the SOPs being followed and maintained, probably I think our industry, the hotel and the travel and tourism industry, should see the light at the end of the tunnel. But in India, India is a great country, and I guess people like you and me, we make it even more greater. We have two sets of rules. We have a theory and we have a practical. Simple example, official debt, unofficial debt. I don't understand that. If you have one record, 2011 census is saying that we are, Meghalaya is supposed to be 29 lakh, population-wise. Then how can you have an unofficial report also? Anyways, these are not the areas to be debated at the moment, but present trend, definitely hospitality and travel industry, it looks a little brighter at the moment. I think all the students who are undergoing the online mode, they're slowly coming back to the colleges. I am personally looking at our Department of Hotel Management, Travel Tourism in the Royal Global University. I'm associated with also the Tezpur University also. I'm a adjunct faculty there and also been associated with IHM Shillong. So finally, the final year students are getting back, and hopefully, things would be much better. I think that's that, sir, if that's okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Indrajit Dattaji. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we come to the concluding remarks for a minute each with everybody, I've got few things to sum up quickly. First of all, there are two concerns which I would like to share with all of you. Number one, education is incomplete without skills, and education and skills both are incomplete without a right opening, whether startup or employment or entrepreneurship or self-employment, whatever word you want to use, but the triangle will get completed only when the education skills and the outcome accountability of the institution is established. That is number one. Second concern, world over the population is aging. A lot of countries are there, those are having challenges and they would need a young generation. Okay, fine. If India is the youngest town and you have got a large pool of young generation, and just now Mr. Indrajit also made a mention that 20 lakh youth in the Northeast itself, when he has taken the bracket for 15 to 35 years. And he also made a mention that unemployment rate is very high because lack of industries, infrastructure, a couple of other things which are required over there. Can we work out a strategy that some of the children can move on to those countries? You have certain advantages. Number one, the language. Number two, communication skills. Number three, soft skills. And I don't consider anything else as a soft skill except your etiquettes, your manners, your gesture, your body language, your confidence, your personality, your communication skill. That all is the part of my soft skills. And that's what companies are looking forward to. Of course, with that comes selling skills also. You got to be a salesperson. You got to be selling, because that is also something very important. So can we prepare certain youngsters from the Northeast who can, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India has got a vision, and there's a Services Export Promotion Council. We can train. If we start working towards manufacturing sector and chasing China, I mean, it is going to take a hell lot of a time. Our asset is our youth. Our asset is our younger generation. Our asset is, let's skill these youth, and why can't they take a short-term assignment? I do not know, Professor Sujata must be knowing it better because I'll be starting with her. In Nehu campus, I had gone. General VK Singh was that time the Honorable Minister State for External Affairs. And in the Nehu campus in the main city of Shillong, Professor Srivastava was the Vice Chancellor at that time. And you have got a small portion in Nehu campus. Of course, you are in Tura, but in the main campus I'm talking about, there was a complex where ICSR, Indian Council for Cultural Relations, Social Sciences. And there was a gentleman called Mr. Matthews who was posted over there. I had gone to deliver the address in the Nehu campus when we had got this thing inaugurated. Mr. Karopa was the Chief Secretary of Meghalaya at that time. And Secretary ASEAN, she had come from Ministry of External Affairs. I do not know what is the status of that ASEAN center, but Northeast can take a lot of advantage with all the 10 beautiful countries what you have got, right from Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Brunei, Vietnam. When I talk about, we can take a great advantage over there as well. So I've got a question to ask all of you. First, how do we bring all the educators, anybody whosoever is in education ecosystem, one forum, one platform for the entire Northeast? Like Mr. Tyrone, you know, he took the pain and he got all 5 legends this evening, and we all had a wonderful deliberation. Each and every word what you have conveyed was so meaningful for the entire universe. And that's why I didn't bother about time, because we have gone 30 minutes past time. No worries. We have to do justice with the topic and the subject and the evening. So over here, I wish to share with all of you, how do we bring all the 8 states together? Confluence and the podlock of the educators. And with educators, you got to bring the skill providers also. With educators and skill providers, you also get the technocrats together, because you need technical support also in education ecosystem. And I'm a strong believer. I believe in technology. I want to follow technology. Government should not spend too much of money, construction, physical part of it. We don't require more buildings. We need digital highways, because children should be in a position to pick up any topic, any subject. Can you imagine had the digital part not been there? Of course, we have got challenges. Tell me when we didn't have the challenges. When we had to come to steam engine, we had a challenge. When we had to come to diesel engine, we had to have challenges. When we had to come to electrical, we had to have challenges. Today, we have switched over, and nobody wants to change in life unless the pain of not changing becomes more painful than the change itself. Nobody wants to change. What we have done in the last, from 25th of March 2020 till date, I meant to say it's a techno revolution. Techno revolution. And there's so much has come. Why not Northeast should get better bandwidth? Why not Northeast should get better connectivity? Why not Northeast should get more digital highway? Why not we should bring more technology? If children are enjoying technology, let's bring technology. And it should be government responsibility. Preloaded contents can be given. Every month contents can be loaded and all that part can be done. I would be very positive. I would be very constructive. And I'm a very positive person. I would like to talk this way because I've seen those times when I used to walk from Dinjan to Chabua, Chabua to Dibrugarh, Dibrugarh to Kanobari, Kanobari to Longding, Longding to Waka, Waka to Pangchua, Pangchua to Khausa, Khausa to Devmali. And I have been traveling from Dispur to Shillong and all the places I have traveled. I'm going to say, and going towards Manipur, right to the More and to that Loktak Lake and that Subhash Chandraji's statue and Moran and all those kind of places. Everything. When I go to Arunachal, if the Koila movie can be shot over there, cinematic tourism has got a great potential. Children are interested about media entertainment industry, radio, television, theater, music, films, digital, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality is the future. Let's live with the future. If children enjoy that, why not to bring more and more? Because I never knew it was a great education during this pandemic. I learned Manipur is having golden jubilee of their films. Oh my God, I never knew that the media entertainment industry is completing 50 years in Manipur. And the Koila, when it was shot, when you travel from Guwahati to that Balipong and Balipong to my army area, Tangavali, and Tangavali to that before I go to that Bomdila to Dirang and to Sela Pass and to Tawang. Tawang festival has become so popular. People from world over are coming. Shillong, your choir band. Oh my God, what a beautiful you have got. The other day I had cinematic tourism deliberations from Meghalaya. And that gentleman who is the vice president of the entire Northeast, he's from Shillong, the Northeast Confederation together. So ladies and gentlemen, with these words, let's have a minute each. Mr. Pankaj Dasji has to leave. So let's give him the first 1 minute. Please go ahead. Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted.
You can go by the schedule. I have got about 5-6 minutes.
Okay, very kind of you. Within 5-6 minutes, we'll close, sir. My only aim was I want to energize everybody in Northeast today because I belong to Northeast. I love Northeast. I spent 40 beautiful years of my life with the Northeast, and Northeast has got lots of hope and a future for all of us. And the children can do amazing, and that's through the route of the teachers, educators. Professor Sujata Gurudev, ma'am, how do we bring all the educators, technocrats, counselors, skill providers, and the technical people together? Tell me, what do we do? Because Mr. Tyrone is not going to be help me every day.
Yes, the fact is this, that what you talked about, this digital hub, it's very, very important that we should have a kind of a resource, because you will see that the future of education is artificial intelligence. We have state-of-art classrooms. And what is going to happen is this, that not just Northeast, but there's going to be sweeping change in the next, it is slotted for next 1 or 2 years. And artificial intelligence is going to be something which has to be, you'll need a lot of digital rewiring of the entire Northeast. And almost all academics and academia would be functioning, keeping pace with that. And everything is going to be handed out to the students. Your curriculum, your studies, your multiplicity of subjects, everything is just going to be handed out on a platter to them. And that is going to be the future. So first of all, the bandwidth and all those technological things have to happen. And there's no way it's going to stop. Northeast is going to be swept by the digital revolution, and that is going to happen. And Northeast is going to fly like an eagle. And I'm very sure about it because our youths are brilliant, and they've got the skills, the survival skills post-pandemic, and they've also got the drive. So I think with the government, the educators, the entrepreneurs, all working together, it should not be a difficult issue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. John, brother, may I request you, what should be
yes.
done to bring everybody in one fold, one on a common platform, and every Saturday to be dedicated in the evening to Northeast part of education ecosystem?
So we can help you in that, because we do have in our institute every year a national conference and an international conference. So we have a big group of big group of the principals, even from some foreign countries. So we can advertise there. We can have it. Northeast is as an unexplored paradise with such beautiful people. But I want them to be built into work culture, the dignity of labor. Mr. Indrajit Datta was telling, we run DDUGKY project in our institute, especially for hospitality sector. From Assam government, we train around 450 students, but we are unable to place even 10 students because attrition level, they don't want to work, because without their work, at least 3 months of labor, 3 months salary statement, we cannot get the refund from the government. So too in Meghalaya, we train around 270 students, but we can't place even 10% students because they are unwilling to go for the placement. So these are some of the challenges. Also, keeping to what Mr. Indrajit said, along with education, what I want to tell the teachers is that along with the knowledge and skills, they should not forget to give values. That values have to be given, because we have so much of suicide cases, suicide tendencies, children living without values. I think along with knowledge and skills, we need to encourage our teachers to live their value-based life and also teach values to our children. Thank you for this wonderful panel. It's been a pleasure to be with you this evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. John. May I request Mr. Pankaj Dasji, because you have to leave. Let's have you now.
Yeah. Today, there is no lack of knowledge about what is to be done, and more importantly, how it is to be done. However, the wrong things keep on happening because of idiotic government regulations. For example, when you see, even now you can download the draft National Education Policy, there you will find that the suggestion was to do away with medical entrance examination and bring in the pre-med system, that any student can get admission into admission into the medical courses. After 1 year, just as in the US, 1 or 2 years, then if they do well, if they have the attitude and the required skills necessary, they progress to the next thing. However, that suggestion got dropped. When they asked suggestions from the public, I wrote that this should be done even in engineering, because we have seen how the entrance exams have played havoc. We had a seminar that whether schools are necessary. You will notice that many parents, after passing out even from Don Bosco school, those who study up to class 10, they leave to those schools that allow them not to be there in the class 11, 12, and they will be there in coaching institutes. So this is proxy admission. Don Bosco does not allow it, neither do we, but some schools allow. So parents go there. Now, for those parents, for a sizable percentage, they have already indicated their preference that they do not require school education. School education is required merely because of the government rule that a student has to pass class 12. So these regulations keep on alive a structure that is not suitable. whether it is curriculum, pedagogy, or assessment. So government should get out. I hope one good thing that the NEP has talked about is about deregulating or breaking the government's monopoly. Say it makes laws, it makes the boards, it provides, it gives money. All of these are to be separated. I hope this one good suggestion of the NEP happens. And when that happens, only then such a community of educators can give real value. Today, I'm afraid this group of educators, if they come together, will merely be able to act as a pressure group for government to get out of these sectors.
Wow, that's great. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Before you leave, I just wish to announce today's winner for the 1,000 rupees. Somebody is patiently waiting. And that was posted at 21:04. That means 4 minutes past 9 p.m. There was a posting and somebody has posted. The name is Nyoi Nyodu. Nyoi Nyodu. And she has written, it is regarding the tour package which we were talking about Northeast, which was taken up, which was announced, which was signed. There was a MOU between the Ministry of Railways and Ministry of Tourism. It is starting on 26th of November. It is starting from Safdarjung Railway Station, New Delhi. It is a 14 nights and 15 days trip. And it is to the 5 states of Northeast part of India. And this is under Dekho Apna Desh. So heartiest congratulations to Madam Nyoi Nyodu. And whatever state you belong to, we extend you a very warm welcome. But I'm pretty sure you're from the Northeast. And you kindly post your email ID over here. And you get 1,000 rupees cash award from the chamber for this wonderful answer. And I'm pretty sure many more would be there to participate. But let's have the next Saturday. Now coming to Mr. Karmo Noronaji, let's share your vision. My efforts are how to get all the educators, teachers, counselors, principals. Of course, Dr. John Brother has already told me, but I wish to share very politely with him. Our chamber has got more than 12 lakh members abroad. And we have got all the educators. Those are sitting abroad Indians, they are on our forum. So we have got across 149 countries. I'm interested at present, the people, those are staying, teaching, working, associated in the Northeast part of India, they should become the part of this vision and this think tank for the benefit of everybody. Pankajji, if you have got 2 more minutes, then we can do 1 minute with Karmoji and 1 minute with Indrajitji. Karmoji, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. But I think one of the things that can happen is to develop what they call a community of practice and do it digitally. And my one focus would be, how do we train teachers to train for the 21st century, and on a regular basis. I think teacher training is most important. You have eminent people, for Dr. John is there, etc. The second point is that what I want to mention is, just like the brain is meant for survival, the brain doesn't learn anything that is boring. It rejects it. It avoids pain and embraces pleasure. So engaging students, and how do we do it in a digital age, to me is vital. And for that, we need a community of practice which meets regularly and has common practices. Finally, sir, I invite you to Tura, because we have developed a center there on ecotourism developed by persons with disability, where you can actually, and I'd like your support there, where you can go and pick tea, pick coffee. It's all organic. You can fish, you can make paper, and there's a jungle there, and it's 20 years of conservation. And I would agree with Father Johnny that the government needs to change. This placement thing is totally irrelevant for the Northeast. And that is why, as an organization, we have never taken up any DDU, because we think that it is flawed. when it comes to placement. And this requires change. I want to say hi to Indrajit. I'm also from St. Edmunds, you're from Shillong, and I hope that you can visit us in Shillong. Thank you so much, people. It's been wonderful listening to you.
Thank you,
Very
Karmo, sir.
enriching.
Thank you, Karmo, sir. Something again, you have taken me back, sir. Long time back to the first ecotourism policy of the world was done by Dr. Donald Hawkins from the George Washington University. And I traveled with him to Costa Rica, Venezuela, and Brazil, and a couple of other places in the rainforest. And a lot of study was being done in the USA. I had gone on deputation from the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, to do the green tourism, ecotourism, nature tourism. That is fantastic, sir. We would be more than happy. I have to come to Tura because I made a commitment to Tyrone because he is unstinting support. And one of the North Indian is posted as a deputy commissioner there now, I think Ram Singh. He
Ram
comes
Singh,
from,
that's right. Yeah.
he's from Himachal Pradesh.
Yes.
So I would certainly come to Tura and we would enjoy the place over there. Let's come to the top of the shack and the final ship of the evening, Mr. Indrajit Dattaji.
Thank you, sir. I think let me begin by this, this line saying majority of the teachers are not teachers by choice. So probably, a lot of teachers who have joined these professions have not joined by choice, but by compulsion of livelihood measures. And majority, since I am from the corporate world for the last, I've just joined teaching, it's about a decade now. Majority of the colleagues, wherever I've worked, when I ask them a question like, why have you gone to this noble teaching? We get summer break, we get winter break. It's easy, things are very easy. Let's be very honest. So I think countries like Bhutan, small countries and like Bhutan, where the teachers, primary school teachers are the most well paid and well respected, because I agree with that, because these are the teachers, who are basically making the foundation for these individuals. And one good thing about the pandemic is definitely, I'm sure there is a lot of good things about the pandemic. It has brought families together. A lot of time has been spending a lot of time together. A nursery kid is also used to Google Form, Google assignment. So if you look at digitalization, yes, if you go back about 10, 20 years back when people are talking about video conferencing, we were a little amazed how a person in video in Delhi could be watching another person and talking. But these days, I think even kids are having online video conferencing with various apps. And I think we are getting there as far as digitalization is concerned. And like Professor Sujata ma'am has already said, it has tremendous potential, Northeast. And hopefully we will get there. But I'm sure we are going there at a very slow pace because like how Mr. Pankaj Das has also said, because of corruption, because of policies which are not really going to yield results. But I think these challenges will be there because we are a country, the second most populous country, and we have people with different mindsets, different upbringings. So probably time will say, and we will hopefully get back to where we have promised us to be there. Otherwise, we'll be left out. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The second most populous country. Let's make best use of our youth, the best possible way, whatever we can do. Let's skill them. Let's equip them. Let's chisel them. Let's nourish them. Let's bring positivity everywhere where we can. And Pankaj Das ji, on a very positive note, I would like to share with you, if we all get united in the Northeast from the education ecosystem, you can bring change anywhere. You can bring change anywhere. And that's why Dr. John is going to help me next Saturday, bringing 5 other speakers, and we start the campaign from here. I think you wanted to say something, Pankaj.
No, I said thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So my deepest regards and gratitudes and thanks to all of you. Stay fit, stay fine, stay happy. Let's bring more happiness to the entire globe, universe, wherever we are. And my deep thanks to Tyrone ji and of course Dilip ji, because I still cherish, and anybody whosoever heard Dilip ji the other day, It was scintillating, captivating. I won't use a word from North India, intoxicating. That's not correct. So the thing is, it was wonderful. And there's so much to pick up from each other. All of us, we are going to move ahead together.